Okay, made a few videos on different types of vocal styles that you can use when you're singing your songs, writing your music, and explained how all these different styles work, broke it down. But what I haven't done is taught you guys how to find your vocal style specifically. And so, in today's video, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. First, we gotta go to church for this virtual Facebook service. All right. Alright, so I know it's a little bit weird me not being in the studio, but I'm kind of trying to experiment with different formats of filming for my YouTube videos. So hopefully you guys kind of vibe with what I'm doing here, but I'm trying to be less of a traditional tutorial guy who's always inside the studio. The whole idea for this channel when I first started it was to show me as a personality, not just the teacher or the tutorial guy. So just a little forewarning as I make my way to my church for this quarantine service. So let's see how that goes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We're back in the studio. I was trying to film something outside of the studio because I'm one who loves to travel. I'm trying to get out a little bit more, being cooped up and locked down. It's not the business, but the heat outside is so incredibly hot. So how to find your vocal style. And I know I've already made 2 videos so far about different types of vocal styles and what affects how someone is able to present these expressions. I've been getting a lot of questions from a lot of different people on how do I find my style? How do I decide on which way that I want to express myself in my music? So today I want to tell you guys how to find your vocal style, how I found mine, and show you kind of like my metamorphosis as a singer, using some of my own examples, my original music from way back in 2008 all the way up until now. So here are 5 steps that I personally take to find my vocal style. So let's get started. Okay, so number 1, first off the top of the list, what I normally tell everybody and myself is what styles do I resonate with the most? So naturally, when we're becoming singers, especially when we're younger, we're growing up, we have a lot of different influences. We have singers that we look up to and we want to be like them, we want to sound like them. That's totally fine. I think this is the first part of this whole process. Every person that's a singer now has somebody that inspired them before. So you'll hear Chris Brown, you'll hear Omarion, you'll hear Bruno Mars talk about how Michael Jackson was their inspiration. Then you'll hear Michael Jackson talk about how James Brown was his inspiration. But everybody has an inspiration. They all start somewhere. So it's kind of like this is gonna feed into one of the next steps, but you just wanna find a style that speaks to you. You definitely have to stay within your lane. You have to stay within whatever your prowess is. Everybody has different vocal abilities because everybody's vocal cords and physical builds are different. Make sure you're staying within, you know, you're not trying to be unrealistic and like if you have a soft voice like this and your vocal cords, you don't want to be trying to sing, you can sing a hello. You want to find a happy medium between both. So who do you resonate with, but you're also able to do it yourself. So this kind of goes into number 2, because number 2 is which artists represent these styles. So I was very into the passionate, just putting your all into these songs. I mean, that's not so much of a style, but it helps get the style out there. And I was very much a mid-tempo. I didn't have all the range in the world. I did when I was younger, but as I got older, my range got lower because puberty and age and these things play a factor. Michael Jackson was definitely an inspiration of mine, but then I had to think about somebody who was in the mid-tempo range, who thrived in that range and couldn't sing the highest notes, also couldn't go super low, but they could go low. So then I started to look into John Legend, Music Soul Child, Usher. I feel like these artists, they thrive in their mid-range, and that's where I found my sweet spot is also in my mid-range. So I started incorporating these different styles of these other different artists with the whole vibe of Michael Jackson. Then we move on to step number 3, which I previously mentioned. You want to study them extensively. And after you study them, you want to copy them. Yes, you heard me right. Don't do it forever, but when you're first starting out, find these different artists that you vibe with, that are presenting a style that you want to sing in, and copy them. Mimic what they're doing. Learn how they sing the way that they sing. Learn what they're doing with their vocal cords. Try and do it yourself. Go get some singing lessons. Tell your vocal coach you want to sound like this, and they're going to teach you how to unlock the potential in your voice to be able to do something like that. So my example here is my entire first album I spent trying to copy Michael Jackson. But you can tell I have this like I'm trying to do this raspy voice. I'm trying to do like this harsh, because you know Michael Jackson had that whenever he sang a song, you've been hit by a smooth criminal, like, you know what I'm saying? So I really tried to mimic this style, and it, looking back at it, to me it doesn't sound that great, but when I made this stuff in the moment, it sounded really dope. So let me find a good song here. Now watch how raspy I get on this part. Can they stand it? They said that I was looking like a bandit, but when I was gone they couldn't handle it, and I knew that I was different. Like, clearly this is not my real voice. I could have made it sound better with a little bit practice, but again, it still wouldn't sound natural because this is not where my natural voice stands. When we first learned how to sing, when we first learned how to paint, we try and paint or sing or dance or take pictures or do videos like the people that inspired us to do it in the first place, because that's why we got inspired. So you want to try to copy these people. You don't want to keep it that way, because this is only part of the way to finding your own unique style, your own voice. That's when I came out with this Black Circus 2, which is the intermission. This is when I started like being a little bit more R&B, a little bit more softer tone, not trying to hit all these crazy like high notes or anything like that, and tapping into that mid-range, heavily inspired particularly by John Legend in this time, because in school I was always being told, you sound like John Legend, or because I would play the piano at the assemblies and sing the song, oh, it's John Legend, he's the John Legend of the school. So it's a little bit softer. You can still hear the. You can still hear a little bit of that Michael Jackson influence, because I'm still airy with my tone, but I think my voice when I sing comes naturally like that. Yeah, just let the beat around. So you can hear the vibrato that Michael Jackson has, that very fast vibrato, but it's not as now let the beat, like I was doing in that last song. It's a little bit more R&B-ish. If I had $100 trillion, I could rule the world. I take the money and buy it all. A brand new house for my baby girl. So there's one example, straying a little bit more away from that Michael Jackson, but I'm still keeping a little bit of that influence in there. I'm kind of finding a different style that is John Legend, that is Usher, that is all these other artists, and I'm mixing it a little bit with the Michael Jackson to kind of morph these sounds together. So this song, Leaving Home, I think was right around the time that I started finding my footing, like really finding my footing. The first album was a blatant copy of Michael Jackson. The second album, I was kind of experimenting, throwing in some other sounds. And the third one is when I think I perfected that mixture between different artists. I started finding my own footing as this being my vocal style. I know I'm not the only one walking such a dark road, but we can be the ones who all chose to let go. No more hurt, no fears, no more pain, no tears, no more feeling alone, cause we're not here on our own, and our souls live forever when we. So throwing in that high falsetto note, you know, kind of some flavor in there, keeping that fast vibrato of the Michael Jackson influence, and then knowing that my range is not so high, just keeping it in that mid-range, and just playing around with these different styles, and I found my own voice. And then of course now we have the music that I'm releasing now, which you guys know, you've seen it on the YouTube channel. From me, would you agree to a date? Cause all these other dames, they not up to par. You must like the fame cause you a superstar to me. So you can hear I'm not trying to go all crazy and do all these other things. Now this is actually what step 4 is. So step 4 is you put in your own flair. You find different artists. You find, number 1, whatever style that you want to kind of go for. Number 2, you find whatever artists incorporate these styles, mix the two together, study them, see how they do it. Number 4, put in your own flair. When you're singing, people aren't going to be like, oh, he's the next Michael Jackson, or he sounds just like John Legend. No, I want to sound like me. I don't want to sound like the next anybody. I don't want to be, oh, you're just like Bruno Mars. I don't want to be like Bruno Mars. I want to be like me. I want people to say, was Bruno Mars an inspiration? Yes, of course. I don't want people to think I'm trying to copy Bruno Mars. So that's why you put in your own flair. And this is kind of something that you have to experiment with. You have to practice. It takes a long time to be able to mix all of these different styles together, to mix your vocals in with previous influences that you've had, people that you've tried to copy. You build that foundation with someone you're trying to copy, but then you have to throw in your own flair and get your own sound. You have to figure out what that sound is going to be. Obviously it has to be something that you like, and once again, obviously it has to be something that's within your wheelhouse, something that you're capable of doing, something that you are capable of learning how to do and unlocking that potential within your vocal cords. Either way, you have to throw in your own flavor, because if you don't, you're just going to sound like somebody who's just trying to be a cover singer. But when I actually got serious about my music, it took me, and I released my first album, it took me about 4 years to find my actual voice and my style as an artist, a real artist, not just some kid who's singing at assemblies and things like this. But after about 4 years of experimenting, releasing my own music, about 5 different projects I released in 4 years, I found my own style. And this is why it takes time, it takes experimentation. You won't find it right off the bat. Some people will, some people won't. It just takes time. And so I implore everyone out there to go out and experiment, to study who you like, to copy who you like, and then throw in your own flavor. Experiment, practice, experiment, train. As long as you keep at it, as long as you keep doing it, you will find your vocal style. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please leave a like down below. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'm always answering, replying to all my comments. Please hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications so you'll be notified every single time I upload a brand new video. Set them to all, by the way, not personalized, but all notifications, and then turn your notifications on your phone, because if you don't have them on, then you won't get notified of my new uploads anyway. Because I get a lot of people that come here and say, I haven't been notified, I didn't know you released new videos. And well, just turn on the notifications and you'll know when I release new videos. You don't have to go searching on my channel, but that would be a great help. As always, stay legendary. I appreciate you.